Hi everyone, today we're going to continue our discussion on simplifying expressions. Today we're going to look at how to use the distributive property. The distributive property is just multiplication distributed over addition or subtraction. So let's come down and take a look at some of these examples. When we're looking to distribute, we have to look for the number that is what I like to call stuck to the parentheses. That means there's no operation between the number and the parenthesis. In this case, we're looking at the 8. So when I distribute that 8, I'm going to do the 8 times 1. So 8 times 1 gives us 8. Now I'm going to distribute my 8 to the 2n. So 8 times 2n, and be careful, that's a positive 2n, gives me a positive 16n. And then I'm done. Nothing more left to do. At this point, please make sure you are circling your answers. Okay, let's take a look at this one. So this one gets a little trickier. So here, I don't have a number that's actually stuck directly to the parenthesis. Instead, I have just a minus sign. So right now, this says negative x minus the sum of 3x and x squared. So I need to have a number. If there's no number directly stuck there, it's a 1. Now we have to be really careful and pay attention to our signs. In this case, it's a negative 1 that I need to distribute. Because remember, subtracting is really just saying adding a negative. All right, so now let's take this negative 1 and distribute it. So I'm going to distribute it to the 3x, which then gives me negative 3x. I'm then going to take this and distribute it to the x squared. So negative 1 times x squared gives me a negative x squared. All right, now what about this negative x here? We're just going to bring him down. All right, we have now distributed. Okay? And at this point, that's where we would stop with distributing. Now I can put these together. We're going to stop at that point because right now we're just practicing how to distribute. Okay? We're going to, at the bottom, look at what would be our next step here. So I want you to just distribute with these two problems here. Okay, pause the video now and complete those two problems. Okay, welcome back. With this one here, you should have gotten an answer of x minus 2. Okay. With this one here, you should have gotten an answer of negative 6 plus 18x. Check to see how you did, and if you need help on those, be sure to ask next class. All right, let's put it all together. So the very first thing we should do when we're looking at a multi-step simplification problem is to distribute. Once we've done any distributing, then we can look at combining like terms. So first step, distribute. Second step, combine those like terms. All right, so let's take a look at what we have to distribute. I actually have two sets of parentheses. So I'm going to look at the first set, and the number stuck on the outside is that 2. So I'm going to take my 2, and I'm going to distribute it to negative 2. Gives me negative 4. Now I'm going to do 2 times negative 5. That's going to give me a negative 10q. Then I'm going to do 2 times that positive 8. And that is going to give me a positive 16. All right, so I've taken care of that. Now we're going to come over here. And once again, I have no number right here. So I'm going to type 1 in. That's actually a 1. Oh, I do it. There we go. Where'd it go? Got a 1 there. Okay. So there's a minus sign in front of it. Remember, a subtraction sign really means plus a negative. So when we're distributing here, we need to distribute a negative 1. Watch your signs on this. Okay, so I am going to distribute a negative 1 to my 3q. That is going to give me negative 3q. Now I'm going to distribute my negative 1 to this positive y. That's going to give me a negative 1y. And then I'm going to distribute this negative 1. Pay really close attention to this. This is a negative 3. And that's going to give me a positive 3. Watch your signs. A negative times a negative gives me a positive. Okay, now, let's go to our next step, and we're going to combine our like terms. I'm going to continue using the strategy that I used last class, where I split this up into the different columns so I can group my numbers by the type of term, and then I combine. So I have a constant, I have a term with a Q, and I have a term with a Y. So I have 3 different types of terms. All right, so I'm going to start with my Q, because alphabetical order, Q comes before Y. So I'm going to take my Q's, and I'm going to bring them down here together. I'm going to make this one for my Y's. And then this last one is going to be my constants. Doesn't matter which order they go in, but I'm just going to list them all right in there. Now I can draw my line, and now I can add them together. So I have negative 10Q minus 3Q, or negative 10Q plus a negative 3Q. That gives me negative 13Q. I've got negative 1Y, has nothing to combine with, so I'm just going to bring him down. And then I've got a negative 4 plus 16 plus 3. And that will give me a positive 15. To get my final answer, I'm just going to take all of these and smush them together. And then circle my answer because it's done. Okay. All right. That is it for our notes today. Very short lesson. I want you to go ahead, try this one on your own. I'm going to put the answer up once you pause it, come back, check to make sure you've got the answer correct. Okay, go ahead and pause now. Okay, so let's see how you did. Your final answer for this one should be, let's see, negative 2x plus 22. That should be your final answer. So check to make sure you've got that correct. Come into class next time with any questions you may have.